All right, people, we're in Act 2, baby. Well done. All right, so we literally just killed Mervale now. We got an additional skill point, and the build guide I'm following. I'm just going to have to quickly look because this is now a little bit of a different variation. So we go down here, we get critical strike chance with bows. Okay, so yeah, we've still got the same abilities. We're still rocking Rain of Arrows. And this is kind of the first zone now into Act 2 called the Southern Forest. So going off the last video, we're still looking for the same kind of things. We're still looking for any scrolls of wisdom. We're looking for some 3 links. We're looking for orbs of transmutation, orbs of alchemy as well. That would be really good to get. And we're going to probably end up doing a couple more of these league mechanics as well this time around. We just found a new bow actually. We will check that out in a minute. Let's go ahead and just get to town first. So yeah, you should be probably following a build guide. If you know, a lot of people say, oh, it just ruins the game for me, but I'd honestly say, especially for a new player, it's the first time playing, it's going to improve your experience. You're going to have a much better time following a build guide. And you know, you follow build guides in every game that you do, really. You know, in World of Warcraft, you follow a build guide. In like Diablo, I followed build guides. You know, it's very often that I'll play the game and just try and wing it on my own. Unless it's, you know, an easy game that doesn't have a lot of depth to it. And this game has got a lot of depth. So I usually come here. You don't have to talk to people to actually grab their quests. If you just go to the next area, you actually automatically pick up the quests. So we're going to go and vendor straight away. So remember, if you're wanting to vendor to people to sell, you hold control, you left click on them, and if they're a vendor, they will sell. And then the same to move these over to here. You just control and click, control, left click, control, left click. Nice and easy. We're going to just quickly check out this bow to see if it's any better. So we've got 157.9 DPS, 118, yeah, so our one's a lot better. We've got some greater life flasks now, so we can get rid of the large life flasks. So we go from 250 up to 360. And if you get 3 of these, you can actually upgrade it to a greater life flask. So if you trade 3 large life flasks, it turns to a greater. And that's the same with basically every flask that you can get, life and mana flask. So we're going to head right first. That's usually the way we go. We head right to the old fields, and we're going to try and finish 2 quests while we're out here. One of them is in this zone. We've just got to find somewhere called the Den. Yeah, this, it's a lot easier now with Rain of Arrows. We're just flying through things. We've still got the reservation effect. We've got that precision. You can see it up here. Accuracy and critical strike chance. So yeah, this zone doesn't offer much. It's literally just there's a lot of zones here where you just have to kind of run through. This is one of them. So we're going to go down here to the Den. This quest reward, I think, is either a choice of belt or it is a flask. Now, if you didn't get a second Quicksilver and you feel like you're confident enough that you can you know, run through with 2 Quicksilvers like I've been doing, even though I've been going kind of slow, I think it's more for the purpose of the video that I've just been going through everything. So if you want to get a second Quicksilver flask, this is somewhere that you can do it. If not, you can just take an upgrade on your belt. If you haven't got like a very good belt, it hasn't got any good rolls on it, this is where you're going to get it. So you kill this beast here, you don't have to pick anything up, and instead of portaling straight back to town, we're just going to come out the exit to the old fields, and we're going to try and basically, there's all the way to the right, so to the north, to the east side of the map is where we're going to go to the next point. Nice big drop of loot. So we've got a topaz ring there. So there's 3 different types of resistance rings that you can get. 3 basic ones. You've got a ruby ring, a topaz ring, and a sapphire ring. The ruby ring gives fire resistance, the topaz ring gives lightning resistance, and the ruby ring gives fire resistance. It's also going to give you other stats on there as well, so it could give you, lightning resistance and like cold resistance. But if you're feeling like you're dying from a certain resistance a lot, it doesn't really happen at this part of the game. It's more when you get a little bit further into the game and you are kind of getting one shot that you're going to want to really sort out your resistances. But I'm going to show you a little tip when we get further into that part of the game anyway. There's something called a crafting bench, which is super duper handy. And you're going to use it a lot as well, going through the leveling. So there's two ways you can go here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go... which way shall I go? You know what? I'll go up first. So you can go up, down, or right. That's kind of like a crossroads where we just were. So we're going to head up. And we're going to go to the next zone, which is going to give us a new reservation ability. And it's called Herald of Ice. Herald of Ice is a big DPS increase. It gives you like some flat cold damage. And it explodes monsters with ice when they die. So it gives you like a bit more AoE. And especially with all of my damage coming from that rain of arrows in that little circle anyway, it's just going to like, increase that. It's just going to like increase the flow of the game for me kind of thing. I'm not going to have to right click as many times, even though I seem to be one-shotting everything at the moment. And like I said, I think it's down to that bow that we got earlier on. It was a really lucky craft. If you don't get a good bow or a good weapon that first time around, you can keep using essences on them. Well, you'd have to get a new bow because you can't essence an already rare item. It does have to be a normal item, so a white named item. So in here we're looking for, basically we're trying to go to like the middle of the room. I feel like I'm heading too far out one way here, yeah. So I think it might be just up here through this little slot, and there should be a big like circle opening room. Here we go. So a tip for this zone is you always go to the waypoint, and whichever way, the door closest to the waypoint, so that's this door here, that's going to be the way that you've got to go into the next zone. Orb of Augmentation. I'm going to go over, I think, in this video, in this part, some of the orbs that you can be using if you haven't got an essence or anything like that. I might even do one right now. So you can see, what should we do it on? My boots. So you have to unsocket things, because if I try and use this, it did it. Okay, my bad. You can do it with sockets in. So this upgrades normal, which is like the white name, to a magic, so one with a blue name. You can also then use an augmentation, and that allows you to add another line of another mod basically to it. So I've got 8 to dex. When I click this, it's going to give me another line, and it's completely random. There's a list online if you want to check things out, what mods you can get on certain pieces of gear. But I'm going to click this, and it gave me 19 increased armor and evasion. Now, if I wanted to try and add another one, I can't. It says item has no space for more mods. A magic item can only have 2 lines of mods. Rares can have up to 6. See, and then uniques can have, I think it's more than 6, but the average would be like 4 to 6 mods that you get, depending on the item really. Right, so in this area, basically when you're going through these areas, always check to see if it says complete trial in this area. If it does, it just means that you've got to complete a trial of the ascendancy in this area. But I did give you the list on where they are in the last video, so if you are looking, just literally go to the end of the last, about halfway through the last video, and it'll tell you basically all the zones. In here we've got, this is cool, I think this has happened a couple of times now. So if you come here, there's a lot of gems laying around on the floor. Now a lot of them you won't need, like I know multiple traps is a trap support gem. I haven't got any traps, so there's no point even picking it up. Void manipulation is chaos damage, but we've got added lightning damage, which I'll pick up, and pierce support. Oh, Frostblink's a good one as well. Frostblink's just like a kind of better version of a dash. Has a similar cooldown, but it freezes enemies or applies some chill to them when you dash into them, so gives you a bit more survivability. Okay, we're going to open up this chest here, and it see, there's nothing about freeze in there, so I'm quite happy to open this. The only ones you want to be really careful of is if it says freezes when open. So we've got a quiver. We're picking up everything at the moment. We're picking up the rares. We're picking up everything that we can just vendor, just to try and get some orbs of transmutation, orbs of augmentation, because they will come in handy a little bit later on down the line. Especially when we get to end game, there's like more things that you can do with them. You can craft things like maps and like different pieces of gear that even you think, oh no, I'd always just want, you know, the rare items, the ones with all the mods. When you get into crafting, you're going to be making them from the blue items. The blue items are going to start, you know, it's going to be your base type basically of what you want, and then you're going to upgrade them from there. But that's for, you know, a later video anyway. We're getting ahead of ourselves, so let's take it back a little bit. All right, so we're in the Chamber of Sins level 2. We are just trying to find our way through here. Once you find this long corridor, you know you're on the right track, so just keep heading that way until we get to the boss at the very end. Now, I'm not too sure about basically what's happening in the story. I've never really paid attention to it, and I've probably made over 100 characters. It's not something you really have to pay attention to. You're not going to gain any benefit. But here's the boss. There we go. Some 200 sword, bat foil. So nothing I need. So if you see an item that is green, that means it is a quest item. So make sure you're picking it up. And we're going to take this back to town. And remember, we've got 2 quests that we've completed now. We've got the one with the beast, which was underground. Speak to Grust, and this is the other quest that we just did, the gem. So I'm going to take Herald of Ice. And now it says I need 18 intelligence. So I'm going to have to do something about that. Because I really want to be using Herald of Ice. And now if we speak to Yina, this is the one who's going to give us a new belt. I'm going to be taking... let's move that over. I'm going to be taking this here. I've already got 2 Quicksilver flasks. I don't need another one. You can take this elemental resistance one, but I don't think you really need it at this point of the game. If you're playing an energy shield build, take this one. If you need some life, take this one. If you're playing a melee or physical damage character, take this one here. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and ID this. Oh, so we've got fire resistance, we've got life, we've got regeneration. We lose a little bit of damage. That says 24% increased global fizz. We're going down to 19%. But that's fine. So now we're just going to ID everything. The only thing I'm not going to really ID is this one, because it's blue, green, and red linked together. And there's no point IDing it, because it's going to give me that regardless if it's ID'd or not. Right, let's sell all of this stuff that we don't need. Herald of Ice, I really want to check out. And also, we've got... Oh, okay, we've got a new quiver. This actually could be better than mine. So, what do we do, guys? We DPS check. So, I've got 186 DPS with the current quiver. Put that one on. I've got 210. So, it's definitely an increase. So, we're going to sell the other stuff. I could sell this ring as well. I don't think I'm really going to use it. I've got the iron ring here. It's only got that 1 mod. So what are we going to do? We're going to put the orb of augmentation onto it to give it another line. Increase my fire damage. I don't have... I've got 5 to 8 fire damage. So it's going to increase my damage by a touch, but it's nothing really worth mentioning. Now, I would like a 3rd green socket, because I've got shrapnel ballista added cold damage. I'd like to get that to be another green. If I can get this to be 3 greens, bam, first time, I can put my shrapnel ballista in, I can add cold damage, and now I can have pierce. And just to check it works with it, it says shrapnel ballista, it's got a green tick next to it, so we'll put that in, and now it's going to pierce through the enemies, giving me an easier time. The next thing I need to do is look at my intelligence. I've got 14, and I need 18 to be able to wield what I want. So how are we going to go about getting some intelligence? We can go over here to Yina, purchase item, and we can buy this lapis amulet. We've got 1 orb of transmutation, so I'm going to go ahead, buy that. I'm going to equip it, and now Herald of Ice can now be equipped. Okay. It's not like that amulet was doing a crazy amount for me. It gave me some cold damage and fire resistance, but I'd rather have this Herald of Ice. So it adds cold damage. This damage cannot be reflected. Grants 4 to 5 added spell cold damage, which we don't use spell cold damage. And the buff grants 4 to 5 added cold damage. So you'll see what this does. If you shatter an enemy, the skill will cause them to explode and deal AoE cold damage to enemies near them. This damage is not affected by modifiers to spell damage. Okay, so now we've gone right once. So this was the crossroads. We went up. Now we got to go either right or we can head down. So in Act 2, there's 3 bandits that we've got to kill. We've got to kill Alira, we've got to kill Oak, and we've got to kill Creighton. Now, there's 3 ways to go about this. Each of those bandits, if you help them and kill the other 2, they will give you a certain buff that'll last forever. So Alira gives you 15% all elemental resistances forever. Creighton will give you 8% movement speed, and Oak gives you, I think it's 40 to maximum life. So you can make up your mind on what you'd want to take. The build guide that you're following will tell you what you should take. Right, let's equip Herald of Ice. And you should see them starting to explode a little bit. So we've got Herald of Ice and we've got Precision. So we've got 2 things, and we've reserved half of our mana now. If you want, there's a secondary bar here. If you hold Alt, well, let me just kill these. If you hold Alt, I like to set my buffs to this. So you can just, Control. If you hold Control, it brings up this bar. And you can use those skills, even though they're not bound or they're not showing right now, you can still use them. So if you want to de-equip the aura, I press Control W, my Herald of Ice is gone from the top left, press it again and it's back. So these are really great for XP. These are called breaches. You go to the little hand in the center, and it opens up a big breach with otherworldly monsters from wherever I don't know where they come from, underground somewhere, maybe hell, and you just kill them, and basically they grant a lot of XP. They don't really offer that much loot, to be honest. I haven't really had any crazy currency drops from them. They just kind of drop like these splinters. If you collect enough of them, you can go to where they come from, defeat the boss there, and he gives you, some good rewards. That's basically what this game is about. You get to a high level, you get strong enough that you can take on these big bosses and hope when you do defeat them, you can defeat them as many times as you want. They'll give you some good rewards that you can sell, and then once you've sold those items, you can buy better gear and defeat harder bosses. It's basically the aim of the game. So if you help Creighton, you'll be permanently granted 8% increased movement speed. I'm not going to help him because I want to go for the all res at from Alira, and I suggest kind of everyone does that at the start, especially if it's your first character. So there we go. Look what we've just dropped. We've just dropped some unique chain gloves. So let's ID these. Cannot be chilled for 3 seconds after being chilled. So yeah, so this is not really that good for me. So they're very unique. They are basically what they say they are. They're very unique. They're kind of built around certain skills or certain things, which I'm not really going to be using that. So we're done with Creighton. That's fine. That part of the game's done. We're now heading. So we've headed up, we've headed right, and now we're going to head down. This is the Fell Shrine Ruins. In here, we're just going to be doing a quest that gives us some skill points. And you do want to do as much of the skill points as you can, because at the end of the game, when you have finished all the way through Act 10, and you realise that, I'm not as far ahead as my build guide is on the skill tree. What am I doing? I must be missing something. You type /passives, and it'll show you a list of all the passives that you could have obtained. And I guarantee there'll be some saying 0 instead of the 1 here. So yeah, always do all of the quests that I'm advising that you do. There's some that you can miss, and they're just going to be respec points, and honestly, respec points don't matter much because you can get Orb of Regrets, and Orb of Regrets do the same thing. they give you a passive skill point respec. Okay, so you can see my damage is starting to drop off again now. So what do you think the cure is for that? Have a think. What did we do last time? When our damage was dropping off last time, we crafted a new bow. And what has just dropped? A composite bow. Which requires level 14. We're level 20. This is a level 16 zone. So these are level 16 mobs. So this is probably a good time to start looking at trying to craft that bow. So let's get into this area here. Are we in the right spot yet? Yeah, you look for this courtyard over here, and in here you're going to find the crypt. You basically just walk all the way through. These maps are massive. If you want to explore them and kill everything you see, you can do that. A lot of people are like kind of like completionists. I was doing that like my first couple of playthroughs. I was always killing everything that I could. And you'll be massively overleveled, and you will find some really good gear doing it. So it's not a bad thing to do. Here's another trial of ascendancy. I'll just show you the difference between the last trial and this trial. So this one has got these like spiked things spinning around. Instead of spikes up through the floor, they've got these. I won't go into all of it, but it's basically the same. You get to the end, you click the altar, and then you can get warped back out, and you've just got to finish all 6. But I think that would be number 2. Oh, we've got some boots. So we're looking out for any rares, anything that we can wear. So this has got some life, some dexterity. So that's definitely better. The only thing is, we're losing a green socket, and we're currently needing all of the sockets that we can get. So there's 2 ways we can go about this. We can use this jeweler's orb here. This says it reforges the number of sockets on an item. It's definitely going to give me more than 1, because it won't just stay on 1. It always changes the value. So I'm hoping to get 2 or 3 in 1 click. I don't want to use more than 1. So I got 2. Now I'm going to have to try and turn these both green, which isn't a high chance, but it isn't a low chance. There's 1 green, red and green. Okay, that's a shame really, because what we could do now, that's just armor. So we've got 1 green and 1 blue. So we could either drop 1 skill gem, which we don't want to do, or we can try and do the same with this. Oh, look at that. There we go. So what we'll do, we just got a 3 link with this. So we're going to move both our greens over here because our gloves are really good. And we're just going to swap these boots out. As easy as that. So all it did was require a bit of like messing around with some of your skill gems. But you do want to make sure that you're keeping all of your skill gems, the ones that you want and the ones that the build guide is suggesting. You want to keep them because that's going to be making the gameplay a lot easier for you. If you're just winging it and going, oh, you know, I don't feel like it's actually doing that much, or I don't really need Herald of Ice, I don't really need precision, then okay, you feel like you don't need it, you're still going to be okay, but you're not going to have the same experience as what you're seeing on those YouTube videos, and kind of the videos that they're offering is showing you with all of the skills and everything all equipped. If you're only equipping half of those things, you're not going to be blasting as fast. You know, you might even just be dying a lot more. So always try and keep all of the skill gems active, and all leveled up as well. So make sure you're getting the right attributes, because some gems will require strength, some gems require intelligence, some require dexterity. So you've always got to keep them up to the skill, well, the gem level that you're playing at as well. Oh, so we've got another 3-link, a 3-link green helmet, and you know we're just kind of fishing for greens. Maybe an odd blue or an odd red here or there, but it's mainly greens that I want on my build. Because as you can see, all of my gems so far have been green. I've got 6, 7, 8, I've got 9 skill gems, and all of them are green. Now, it doesn't say, you know, it's not to say that I won't change maybe one of them for a blue gem or a red gem a little bit later down the line. But for the time being, I'm just fishing for greens. So if I can find greens anywhere, I'm going to be picking them up, and we're going to be crafting. So we've got a bow, and we've got we've got a bow, and we've got a helmet now that we can look to craft. But the thing is, we don't have the essences for them. So what we're going to do is we are going to keep an eye out for any essences. But we can also look for orbs of alchemy. So orbs of alchemy are like an essence, basically, but it's just with undeterministic rolls on it. So that's this quest complete. Sorry, I was just chit-chatting about other stuff, but you came in here, you grabbed the golden hand, you head back to the forest. And believe it or not, it's probably only been... Let me check this quickly. We've only been running for 25 minutes, and that is already half of Act 2 complete. So, here we go. Okay, right, we haven't got any space, so let's go ahead and sell some stuff first. Oh, we've got a new mana flask, so we can get rid of that one. Won't recover, grants immunity for poison for 6 seconds while used. Okay, get rid of them. I'm going to sell this unique, and they give us alchemy shards, which is good. So if you find a unique and you don't want them, sell them. If you get 20, you'll get an alchemy orb. I want to ID these boots because I'm just looking for movement speed, which they've given me. So that's great. So I'm going to get rid of those boots, and I'm going to equip them. It hasn't given me life or anything, but the 15% movement speed is like, it's like the biggest defensive thing you can get is movement speed. So if you can pick up movement speed, that's kind of what you'd rather movement speed over a little bit of life is what I'm trying to say. I've now got enough mana to get Frostblink, so I can get dash. I can just destroy that. Okay, 9 to 40. Yeah, so we're looking for an essence now. Anytime we can find an essence, I'm just trying to keep my inventory kind of minimal, even though it's quite hard when I'm usually you'd have a stash to play with, but I don't want to use my stash because my currency is all going to get muddled up. As you can see, I've got like a lot of everything here. These are kind of some stuff that you'll be getting later on down the line, but these are kind of the ones that we use at the moment, these four, and then alchemy orb there. But I want to keep it in my inventory just for like transparency of playing a league starter. Talk to Yena for your reward, so let's just go speak to Yena. Fell Shrine reward. There we go. Let's just get I think it's this one, yeah. So I'm just going for max life. So already I've got 495 life, and now we're finished with that right side of the map, so we don't need to go up there anymore. We did the Fellshine ruins, we killed Kraken, and then we just went to the crypt and did that, and obviously do the Trial of Ascendancy while you're there. Now we're on this left side of town, so the riverways. So this is like the first zone where it's just run through, but there is an event to do here, which is the beasts. So on the mini map you'll see these little yellow skulls. By here you can see them a little bit better. They are Einhar's beasts, so what you've got to do is just kill them, and he'll capture them for you. It says here, beasts captured 1 out of 4. So you just get them down to low HP, he captures them, they do drop some good loot sometimes. And then we're going to do the breach, always doing the breach. Always want to do the breach is really handy. Really good, a bit of XP here, especially if you're falling behind. Go, already leveled up. Okay. Right, so on this zone, what I tend to do is just follow the path. See here, there's a path. You just follow it all the way down until you reach a waypoint. I did just pick up Frostblink, but something that you'd want to do with Frostblink, and I'll show you the next time it comes to level up, is you don't actually want to level up past level 1. The only thing it does is increase the damage. It doesn't increase the attack or the cast time of it at all. So if you can just keep it at level 1, that's what you want to do. Especially if you're kind of like a high intense mana build like I've been playing. So here's the waypoint. And then what you want to do is you want to head north. You might have to go a little bit left or a little bit right, but you head north and you just come to the wetlands. And in here is going to be our second bandit. So we're just going to run up here. And I just tend to run to like the middle I don't like to go too far right or too far left. I kind of go up to the middle here. Ah, and there he is. He's this exclamation point there on the map. That is Oak. So we're just going to go in there and we're just going to kill him quickly. If I can find the entrance. It's literally the last side I checked. Of course it is. Oh, God. It was right at the front and I just completely scuffed it. Like, just missed it. Sometimes I do end up watching the map more than the actual game itself. So, yeah, 40 max life if you want it. Help Oak. If not, just kill him. Right, let's put some totems down. He's got a bit of life regen, so the faster you can kill him, the better. He does hit quite hard as well. So now he's dead. We're just going to run all the way up on this left side, and we're looking for the waypoint. So, oh, an Orbital Alchemy drop. This is good. We're going to be using that in just a moment. So, you can see here it says to level up. If you don't want to level up a gem, you level up by left-clicking, obviously the plus sign. If you don't want to level it up and just keep it the same level as what it is, you can right-click this, and it'll disappear. It didn't level up my gem. All it did was it hid it on my inventory page down here, out of the way. So I can still level it up at any time, but I don't actually want to level that gem up. So that's just a useful tip. Instead of having it constantly there on the right side, which will get annoying. Right, we're looking for the waypoint. Here it is. Right, so we've got the routes there. That is, we're going to be coming back here once we've got a quest item. But right now, we're just going to head back down to the riverways where we just picked up that waypoint. And we're going to keep following this path all the way along. Right. Here we've got another yellow beast. And a little bit further along, you can see we've actually got a red beast. That's like kind of the boss of all the beasts in this zone. So he might be a little bit harder. He's usually got like a big pack of mobs with him as well. Yeah, my damage is pretty good at the moment. I'm not complaining with my damage. It's got good AoE. You know, I'm surviving quite well, so I'm not complaining at all. So head to the next zone. Now, in this zone, it always confuses me. There's the top part and there's the bottom part. They do switch around for like kind of every time you come in here, so it doesn't really matter which is on the top or bottom. But on the one side, you'll find Alira, the bandit, and on the other side, the opposite side, you'll find the next zone we need to go to, which is the Weavers. It's kind of like it's where the spider layer is, basically. That's where we're trying to go. But if we can find Alira first, that's what I'd like to do. So what I always try and do first is find Alira. So if you just go up or come down, whichever one you want to try. I'm sure there is a way to figure out which one is which. I think if you go and see like spider webs around the trees, then that is where the spider's going to be. But if you go the opposite way, this is where Alira is. So it gives you 15% all elemental resistances. We're going to help Alira. See down this bottom left corner, it says you'll receive 15% to all elemental resistances, and you get a piece of like a block of wood or something. I don't know what it is. We're going to quickly level up while we're here. Now we're going to pretend like we're following the path all the way through the middle of the zone, because down here there is one last thing we want to do before going into the spider's lair. We want to come down here, like this is the main path, and we want to kill this boss here. This is the Black Guard, so Captain Arteri. Pick up that quest item, and you've got to come over here and click this seal on the wall. Make sure you click the seal on the wall, otherwise you're going to have to come back. And, you know, if you've got the waypoint, then fine, it doesn't take too long. But if you end up porting back to town and then logging off or something, and then you think, oh, where is that? I don't even know where I've got to do it. That's where it is, okay? So it'll just save you some time if you just do it right then and right there. Okay, so always leveling up my main skill gems, always picking up some scrolls of wisdom. By now, you know, I've got 25 and I've been IDing pretty much everything now. So, you know, we're kind of sitting comfortable. So let me just do one more thing here. Right. What I want to do is we found an Orb of Alchemy. Now, our damage doesn't seem to be too bad, but I would like to try and get a better weapon. So you can see the physical damage on this bow is 19 to 40. So it's better than the one that I've got on on at the moment, which is 8 to 21. But I do get a lightning mod, which says adds 3 to 48 lightning damage, gives me some attack speed and increased critical strike chance. So it's a really good bow, to be honest. It's a really, really good strong bow. I'm just hoping to get some either some elemental damage, like lightning damage or cold damage to attacks, or just some attack speed or some crit chance. I'm hoping for one of these stats. So go ahead, right click the Orb of Alchemy, left click it, and we've got a really low damage on lightning. But it has increased my physical damage by 54%. So you know what we're meant to do if we're trying to compare the two. We've got 245 DPS with this on. So 245, equip this one, 234. So it's actually worse. So see, not worth it. So we did try. We basically failed. We've got a new flask to put on. But that is kind of the gist of it. You just got to keep trying and keep trying. Sometimes you're going to get a really good item. To be fair, I got really lucky with that item. But, you know, you're not just going to... You're just going to have to manage. But we're doing absolutely fine with the bow we've got. We are doing fine. I just wanted kind of just a better bow, like we had, you know, last act. Towards the end of the act, we got a really, really good bow. I would have liked to have done the same here right now. But, you know, can't win them all, as they say. We're still killing rares relatively quickly. That's kind of where you want to be checking, you know, how good am I doing. If you're killing the white monsters in 1 or 2 hits, it's good. If you're taking 3 or 4 hits for white monsters, you want to go back, review either your weapons, your skill gems, your support gems. You just want to check out and see, why am I not doing enough damage? Do I need to equip an iron ring, which is going to give me flat damage? Do I need to add a support gem like added cold damage, added fire damage? Even something like faster attacks is going to give you more DPS because you're attacking, you know, 25% faster or whatever it is. So when we get back to town, I should just actually help you guys out with something. Let's do this now, actually. We're going to go back to town, and there's just some settings that I'd like you guys to make sure that you've got activated, because they're just going to make your life a little bit easier. So if you come onto graphics, options, so press escape, click on options, you come over here to UI. You want to enable the ones that I say, well, the ones that I've got basically. So confine mouse to window, it's just going to make it easier. Show corner map, auto center map. This transparency on the map is completely up to you, however you want it. I like to have it so my map transparency is full and my landscape transparency is just 0. The map zoom I like to have as far out as I can, but some people might find it a little bit more comfortable, you know, a little bit further zoomed in or a little bit further zoomed out. Show ally names on your map, that's handy. You want screen shake I like to disable just because it's a bit too much for me. Always show sockets, so on here, see, no sockets are shown, but you can click always show, and you can also change kind of how the sockets look. That's how they look usually. It's just the basic circles. You can change them to whatever one you want. I like to have this large pattern. Show full descriptions on items. Support gem utility pop-up, make sure you've got this. And then show life and mana levels you want on. Hide life and mana reservation you want off. You want that off so you can see that reservation, how much mana you're actually losing from some of your gems. Show flask and tincture buffs. Show aura icons. Show mini life bar on allies and on enemies. This is really handy and above you. You want your as much information on the screen so you don't have to look down to your both corners each time. And when you're showing life bars on enemies, you can actually see how much damage you're doing per attack. So show monster resistance icons and always highlight as well. This is things like Grust's name. If I click it off, see, it doesn't show things to click on and like chests and quest items in the map. So it makes it a bit harder. And then the rest of it is just like, you know, that kind of stuff. You don't have to have timestamps in chat. You don't need chat window, that kind of stuff. You don't need any of that, but that's completely up to you what you want to do with it. So back to the game. We picked up some boots, but we don't actually need boots anymore. So I'm just going to ID these and sell them if I can manage to click on it. So I've got some movement speed. They're good. Cold resistance. Yeah, great. And what we'll do now is we're just going to sell this bow because there's not much I can do with it unless I find an orb of scouring, which will remove all of the. It'll remove it as a rare and turn it back to normal. So get rid of everything. But I think it's a little bit tricky to find one at this point in the game. That isn't any good for me. And we're going to keep this tricorn, this hat, because we do want to upgrade it as soon as we can. So we've made it back to town now. First thing it says is talk to Silk and travel to the Lionized Watch. So let's go ahead and talk to Silk first. He's going to give us some new abilities. We're going to take elemental damage with attacks support.
I journey well.
That means we're going to need a 4-link. So we don't have a 4-link just yet. But we're just going to keep this up here with the stuff that we want to keep. We've got a new mana pot there and new life. Nope, an old life flask. It now says travel to the Lionized Watch. So we're going to quickly go back to Lionized Watch, and this is just going to give us a skill point for opening up that entrance. So speak to Bestel, take the reward, and if you need to purchase any gems, you can come to Nessa, and she does sell a variation of gems. Things like added fire damage, you've got blind or chance to flee, so when you hit enemies they get blinded. Also some really cool abilities like fire trap, lightning strike, elemental hit. That's a pretty fun ability. Toxic rain. So just make sure if you're looking for a an item or a gem that you can't figure out where it is, it's probably a Nessa at the start. So I did just take here as well. Mana leech, 0.4% of attack damage leech does mana. You think 0.4%, that's bloody nothing, but compared to my 107 mana of that's all I've got, it's actually quite a good amount. So into the next zone now. We picked up the spike from Malagaro the spider in that zone. We helped Alira in the Western Forest, and we also opened up the entrance which goes down to Act 1. You can see that kind of path there leads into Act 1 somewhere up by here. So yeah, now we're going to be going into the Val Ruins, and we're almost through Act 2 now as well. So we've only been playing at the moment 42 minutes. I've been going a little bit, kind of running through the ins and outs of everything. So we've gone a little bit slower than you probably should be doing. But if you're following along and you've done it this fast, especially as your first playthrough, bloody well done. We just picked up a Val Orb. Now, I'm not too sure if I want to tell you exactly what that does just yet, because it's not something that I think you'd even need to worry about right now. Val Orb in an item, it can modify it unpredictably. Unpredictably basically says it can either go really good or it can just break your item, turn it to nothing. Like, there's no point even using it. A lot of people do tend to use Val Orbs, or like they corrupt their items. There's many ways to do it, but they do tend to do that as they get into the end game, because they do offer some crazy good corrupted mods. Some things will give you like +1 to all skill gems that are equipped in this item, or a percentage of life recouped when you kill an enemy, which is really good. So it can really be a good thing, but a lot of the time it does just brick your item, and it's not worth doing, especially early on if you've got not much to play with and not a backup item in case your one bricks. There's no point risking it. Oh, we're looking out for another bow. We're going to go ahead and take that bow because we are looking to try and find an essence to upgrade. Oh, here is an altar of corruption. This is basically just what I'd explained then about corrupting items. And you can do this here one time in the game. I think you can only do it the once. So what we'll do, just to show you, we'll do it to our chest piece. So you come here, corrupt an item, modifying it unpredictably. So at the moment we've got 4 stat lines. Let's see if it does anything interesting. Oh, I've got to empty all the sockets first. I forgot, because it can even turn the sockets different colors. You can even get white sockets. So this gave me 6% increased maximum energy shield. So, you know, it's not good for my build, but 6% max energy shield would be good if you were running an energy shield character. So not a bad turnout with that, to be honest. Like I said, it's not great, but it's not bricked my build. I can still play freely. And if I did ever, you know, I've got 34%. 34 energy shield. If you look at my bottom left health pool, you can see the shield 34. Alright, let's put some totems down for this. Single target, you always want to put down your totems. Just increase that DPS. And at this point, I was stood still there. It didn't feel like I needed to move. At some points of the game, you're going to feel like, oh, okay, I can probably face tank this boss now. I don't need to be moving from side to side. That only really happens when you've got a lot of monsters around you, or you're a melee class, actually. That you do always kind of need to keep moving if you're a melee class. Okay, we're going to get some life leech as well now. And here we've got another what are they called? League mechanics. I'm just trying to think of what they're called. I keep thinking of it, and I keep stalling when I'm trying to say it. We've got another league mechanic here, and this one's called Ritual. You'll see this big circle here on the ground, and in the middle, you've got a big like altar to click. Once you click it, mobs are going to spawn, and you've got to kill them and survive. If you don't survive, you don't get all of the money or the ritual points. So see at the bottom there's a number racking up, 170, 180. When I'm killing monsters, this is adding up and it's getting more and more. And you can see down the bottom right corner it says 1 out of 3. So 1 out of 3 rituals. You can either click here to show rituals rewards, or you can click on this, and it basically gives you these. You can see I've got 376 tribute. This is how much they cost, 252, 248, and you can basically buy something if you'd like. Now these hidden items will be revealed if you do the next ritual, or maybe you'd have to do all 3 of them for the better rewards to be shown at the end. They're usually better rewards towards the last rituals that you do, the ones that are kind of hidden. They're usually the better rewards. So I'm a fan of rituals. I do enjoy them. They're kind of like, you know, a lot of the league mechanics, they'll have you either leave the map or go to a different zone and do something. Some of them could be time consuming, like Blight. But rituals, yeah, they're really fun. They're really simple to do. So I'd advise doing them. You know, if you can get some good gear out of them, then even better. But there's so many league mechanics, you will kind of find the ones that you like doing, and you'll literally just skip over the ones that you don't like doing, like you haven't even seen them. You'll be like, nope, not today, not doing them. I'm trying to stay out of, see a lot of mobs here, see, so we're just going to keep trying to dash out of the way, put some totems down, so hopefully they attack them. I'm using my frost blink, you know, as often as I need to when I'm being surrounded by a pack, always dashing out into safety. So these 2 have been shown, and you can even re-roll. So it says it costs 600 to re-roll, and it's going to refresh everything on the page. But then obviously I've only got 542 now. What I will do though is I'm just going to go ahead and take that, because that helm is better than the one I've got at the moment. Oh yeah, look how cool it looks as well. Proper face mask. Alright, sweet. So I've just got a better helm from there, so all good. Alright, so let's keep going through this zone as quick as we can. I just tend to follow the water on this one. We've got a 3rd ritual there, but I know because I've already spent my money on that, I'm not going to have enough to either re-roll or buy anything worth value there. So we're just going to skip that one. Just going to try and kill these little mobs. And then we're into the next zone. So this is the caverns. So we're almost at the end of Act 2. Take some life leech. So around level 25, you should be finishing the act up. So I'm a couple levels ahead. So I'm going to just try and run through this zone as quickly as I can. There's nothing really to mention in this zone that I've not already mentioned. So you're just picking up all the orbs, picking up any rare items, especially ones that can be upgraded. You know, if you feel like you haven't had a new pair of boots in a while, or like that helmet was still white, it was a normal item, you're going to need to try and focus on looking for those items. Because I'm not going to be here to help you on every single aspect, but you're always looking for an upgrade on items. So yeah, anything that you haven't had for a while. Skip over here. Okay, bear with me just 1 second. Okay. Right. So now we're looking for, this is like the pyramid apex. So we're, the pyramid. So we're inside a pyramid and we're trying to reach the very top. I can see the one door's over there. So go through this one door. This goes to the ancient pyramids. Now, how a pyramid works, it's like a big square. And what I tend to see is on this map, I'm like in the bottom left corner here. I want to head in the opposite direction. So I want to head to the top right corner. And that is usually where the door is going to be. So you don't have to faff about going, oh, I'm going to stick to this left wall. Just go all the way up and all the way right. And you should find... Oh, this one's a bit to the left here. So I was a bit wrong there. So I'll put my hands up and say... Maybe you shouldn't be following my guides, but you're just looking to get to the other side of the pyramid or the room, and that is where the next entrance is going to be. Remember, if you've got your 2 quicksilver flasks, keep them active. You know, keep running through, especially if you're over leveled. You do not need to be killing everything that you see. But when there's so much drop in, you know, why not pick it all up and carry on killing? Okay. I think there's only 2 more rooms left now, and yeah, this has been Act 2's playthrough. It's not been that detailed. I've kind of been going over some tips and tricks that I think you guys should know by Act 2, and there's definitely some different things come through when we get into Act 3. So just to recap, we went for a Lyra and we got some all elemental resistances, which was really good. We got a new... No, we kept the bow. I showed you rituals where we got this helmet. I showed you the breach. And another thing, because I've already played this character, here you can see it says crafting recipe. If you click this, it'll unlock a crafting recipe in your crafting bench, in your hideout, which you unlock in the Dread Thicket. We did pass through there because I've already done it. It won't actually give you that. It wouldn't give me that quest. So if you head back, let me just kill these guys. If you head back here to into the Northern Forest, you head to this little zone. It's called the Dread Thicket. Go into there, and you basically find an area in there, and Helena will be in there, and she'll offer you a quest to clear out the zone. And if you clear out the zone and then head back to Act 2 town and speak to her, she's going to unlock the hideout for you. And in there will be something called a crafting bench. And that recipe that I just unlocked will allow you to add mods to your items for a small cost. That's our 3rd Quicksilver flask of this playthrough, which is absolutely crazy. Good idea. And we're just going to replace it with my normal rarity. I've got a normal rarity and a magic. So you can also change these to be magic. You can't turn them into rare with like 6 mods. You can only give them 2 mods, and you can make these magic and gives them a bit more use, I suppose. So that is Act 2 complete. That's actually been a really fast playthrough of it. Like and subscribe for the next video, which is going to be Act 3. And if you feel like I've missed out on anything, just let me know in the comment section below. In Act 3, I'll try and go a little bit more in depth onto some things. Okay, so peace.